to Chaos Theory. I'm Aurian Archive, and this is actually kind of an unexpected stream. It wasn't one I was intending to do. It just kind of happened. Obviously, I've got Idle Champions running, and right now, Idle Champions is in the middle of the Grand Reveal, and presently in the Grand Reveal, you have three characters. You have Human, Havilar, and V or 6. I haven't actually checked to see what she's supposed to be called. Human's combat challenge this time is complete 100 areas with one of the three, each of the three kobolds at the top of the stack. And fairly simple. You just need a group that can go at least 300 areas deep on any one map, mission, whatever you want to call it. Havilar's challenge is sacrifice 3 different imps within 90 seconds. Well, if you just throw these her nuke on auto, and her nuke is something here like heroic sacrifice. If you just put a companion on that auto, you'll get that challenge. Eventually, you will sacrifice that many imps that quickly. It's not really a big deal. But the one that can be a little funky is V's or VI's or 6's, whatever her challenge is. And her challenge is, my work here is done. And have V's, I'm too old for this, continuously active for 100 areas in a row, while a champion is buffed by 6 other champions with a good example. Now, I figured this was going to be a difficult challenge to get. I wasn't even trying to get it on this run. Right now, I'm really just building up, what is this, what's our blessing here? Okay, our blessing is Sune's favor. I'm basically just working on Sune's favor right now, running a free play. Because I've already gotten all of the free play depths, and I think the deepest one was Human. No, wait, was it? Okay, Havilar 275. I've already gone 275 deep on a free play, so all I'm doing right now is just building up Deity Blessing. So I wasn't even working towards V's challenge here. And what I had been doing, however, was trying to maximize. The thing is, what's his name here? Her name, Morgan, is a ramp character. Now, ramp character means that her paid up front is based off of how much gold she collects in game, and this gold count persists through resets. So basically, I've been running Morgan because a ramp characters like. Another ramp character is Autorogor. Another ramp character is where is she? Black Viper. And Zorbu are all ramp characters. They have abilities or something that persists through the reset. You complete the mission and you restart another session, and their buffs or strength carry over. So I've basically been kind of trying to work Morgan into more build to run, to work on ramping up the character, making the powers more effective. Because I have better options than Morgan to craft a build with. But with a ramp character, you get enough bonuses into them, they can become devastatingly powerful. You just gotta sink time into running them. So what I've been doing is just trying to maximize Morgan and maximize Morgan's buffs, which is paid up front. And presently, I've got paid up front set to paid up front applies to all enemy. Paid up front applies to everyone who's non-adjacent to Morgan. And then I also have paid up front is boosted by teammates being attacked by enemies within 2 slots. So I was kind of forced on where I could put Morrigan to get the benefit from these 2 functions. So I've have to have within 2 slots of the tank, who's taking all the damage, taking all the attacks. And so that only leaves me 5 slots to really play with. These 5 right here. If we look over here, these 3 slots, these 5 slots, the 3 and the 2 are the only ones where I can put Morrigan. And then I need somebody who doesn't really do a whole lot of damage next to Morrigan. And for that, I originally had Shandy put here. And I had Shandy put there because she gets a buff off of dexterity, and Morrigan has a very high dexterity, 20 dex. As you can just see, I actually did get a bump there. But there's another character who has a significant amount of power, and that's Whittle. Whittle's buff bonus is that she equalizes the base attack of every character around her based on the lowest base attack of the character around her. So if you put Whittle next to somebody with a ludicrously long base attack like Zolbru, and then pair her with somebody who has a really short base attack, everyone gets that short base attack. So Whittle is a game changer that if you have somebody who does a lot of damage but they do it very slowly, Whittle just crank them up. You just have to position your formation. And so I was basically running Whittle in the middle. And I was running Whittle in the middle. As you can see, I don't get as much base damage overall. But now everyone around Whittle, in this case Paulton, Shandy, Viconia, and Donnie all get the lowest base attack out of whoever had the lowest base attack. Now, this doesn't give me my maximum damage or maximum dexterity boost from Shandy, but that's how I had constructed this. And I had another factor here is that Morrigan is buffed by whoever has a gold power. So I was trying to slot characters who had gold find. So Freely has gold find. Donnie has gold find. Polton has gold find. Vi has, or V, whatever her name is, has gold find. So that was basically ramping up all the other gold find characters, and there is one that I could have put in here, but I didn't. Actually, no. I can't put him in there. I can't put Makos in. I'm not running Penelope because, well, I was running Vi because she has a gold find. And the thing is with kind of all of this circling around together, where I'm trying to just build this formation where I was moving everyone around. Another character that I really wanted in here, really want for each run, is Walnut. And that's because Walnut has the Documancer. Basically, what Documancer means is that once you kill the first enemy, everyone gets a damage buff, and you can go deeper in rounds, because all you have to do is just crack open one enemy with a very strong attack, and then everyone else is buffed, and then you can kind of just wipe through a mob and gaining gold. So Walnut's Documancer is incredibly useful, and there's not really a I'm trying to think if anyone else in here. I think Hitch is just DP. Okay, Hitch I've heard referred to as hidden DPS, but he's listed as a support character. Corazon is just a support character. Beetle and Grim, I see a lot of something going on about Beetle and Grim in the various chat systems. I've never found much of a point to them. They're not really useful. Let me rephrase that. I have not come across a formation with the characters I have unlocked where Beetle and Grim offer me a substantial benefit over anyone else that I've got. Valia, she's actually only she's a decent bard wizard support, but if you're running her, you need to run her in the back, and you need to partner her with Orisha for maximum benefit. If you don't have that going on, out of this benchmark for all the characters that I have, the three to really go with are Delnia, a human, and Valiant. Those are really the only ones that, and they're very specific. If I need more DPS, if I don't have any tank slots, Delena brings a lot of DPS to the table. But for the most part, she brings some more damage. But Walnut gives me that Documenter, which is so very useful when you start getting into later, once you start getting to where you would naturally encounter a wall. And Penelope is also a good wall cracker as well. Between Penelope and Walnut, you can get a good combination going there. But anyway, so I'm working on all of this, and one of the things that I had, since I was looking for characters, had gold. My primary go-to in my bench 1 slot here is Okira or Sisapia. And Sisapia, if I'm running mostly a villain team, she's great to go with Torragar. If you're running Torragar, Archon, what's his name? Archon. If you're running Torragar, Archon, and Crow, then Sisapia is great to have up there because she can do the healing, and she contributes towards the evil evil kill things. So it's Sisapia and Okira are normally my go-tos. But for gold in T1, the only one I can think of that's a gold income is Donnie. Kist is just support. Turiel is support, and I think he most benefits from the front. There's not really a whole lot of formations where he's that good. Deacon support speed. I've never really found a scenario where Deacon was more valuable than others. Brunner, well, Companions of the Hall. If you're rocking Companions of the Hall boost, and I think more, who is it? Rust. Rust is another gold character. He's Adventurers Guild. Alright, so I forget. I don't want to have to go look it up, but Companions of the Hall, Burner's good for building that, so I mostly wind up with Sisapia, Okira, or Donnie based on whatever the formation is calling for. In this case, I want some gold to power up Morgan, so the more gold I got, the better. And so that's kind of how this rest of the formation centered out, because I wanted, I needed Morgan in these, Morgan presence was determined by those 5 slots. I really could move Walnut up to the front and drop Havilar. However, Havilar is a speed character, so speed can be good. She's also got some support to her. And this was kind of her mission, so thematically, yeah, I may be able to get a higher return dropping Havilar, moving Walnut to the front, and putting Rust all the way in the back for even more gold, and I may run a formation like that. But so that's kind of how this had shaken out, and that I wanted paid up front to be on my DPS champion, so I needed my primary DPSers, which in this case were Shandy, who is support speed, and Vicona, who's support or a healing support, Havilar, Freely. I wanted all of these characters here who I kind of was counting on to land kills to be outside of paid up front. And I wanted someone who wasn't really going to be landing a lot of kills right next. So I kind of determined why Donnie wound up right next to Morgan and Whittle wound up right next to Morgan, and that they pretty much defined I wasn't really expecting them to do a lot of damage, but paid up front would apply to everyone else in a circle. Paulton position was kind of defined in that his gold boost is enhanced by the number of characters that are around him. Well, if I've already got these 3 slots taken up to minimize the number of characters that are not affected by paid up front, maximize the number of characters that are affected by paid up front, and I've got these slots to place, which slot gives me the most number of slots around someone? Well, this one's a DPS. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, so Paulton could go here. And we can actually... But that gives us, in this formation, a big drop. Alright, so could go here where Shandy is. Let's check that. We get a big drop again. We come down here to where Freely is, and we've got 1, 2... We've only got 2 slots off of Freely that can be seen. So Paulton's going to lose a lot of gold going to here. And so that's really it. It's these 3 slots in here with these 3 with the slot Morgan, Whittle, and Donnie are in, already taken up. That just left these 3 slots here to maximize the amount of gold possible from Paulton. So Paulton could go in one of these 3 slots. And then Shandi, well, she gets the biggest benefit out of the characters around her who have a high dexterity, and then she passes that on to 2 slots around her. So I actually do get a pretty big damage boost, moving Shandy to the center and Whittle down below. Now Whittle is only now affecting Freely, Paulton, Shandy, and Vicona. She's no longer affecting Morgan, who... she's no longer affecting Morgan's attack. What is Morgan's base attack now? Morgan's base attack is 5.2 seconds cooldown. And everyone else should be on a 4-second cooldown, since they're now all under Whittle's gaze. Alright, so that actually did get us some damage there, so that was not intentional, but that's how it had kind of set up. So I really wanted Whittle affecting to my primary damage dealer was going to be. And my primary damage dealer was going to be Daedalus. Dadius. He does a significant amount of damage, and he also boosts characters who have a high intelligence. So Dadius works well with someone like Nova. But since I was going for gold and I was taking Donnie to maximize opportunities for gold, I didn't have a healer. Well, out of all of the other slots, where do I have a healer? I've got a healer with Celeste in bench 2. And then that's kind of it until we get all the way up to Calliope. But running Calliope or Quillic now takes away from my DPS of Dadius or Vicona. Vicona gives me a decent amount of damage and some healing very late, and some very effective healing that's not dependent on position. Vicona heals from her... she heals champions that have been gravely injured. She heals from wherever, so her healing is not positional based. Calliope, if we take a quick look at her... she inspires those in front to do her more damage, and she protects those near her when they are damaged. She doesn't do a straight heal so much as she does an absorb hit point. What is that? Song of Protection. Temporary hit points to the damage. But it is very positional. You've got to have Calliope within 2 slots of your front. Now, in this formation, that could work. But I went with Vicona. Quillic, he is a healing support, and his healing gets stronger. If we look at his information, his healing gets stronger based on how far away he is. Come on. Heal champion based on how far away they are. So Quillic is really best in the back. Like, I can move him all the way back here. And actually, I do get a significant damage buff doing that, moving Walnut up front. And we get some healing across here. So that was an option. That wasn't actually the option I had taken, because when I've done this test kind of playing before, Vicona gives me the highest damage return out of everyone else in her bench slot. She just does more applied damage than Quillic or Calliope. And Prudence basically requires, what is this? Good champions in the formation further increase your damage bonus. So if you have any other evil neutral champions, you don't really get as high a return out of Prudence as you could. So Vicona gave me the, basically out of her bench slot, gave me the strongest damage, the most amount of healing, the least amount of positional, since I didn't know where she was going to go. So that was why I chose her and put her in this formation. Shandy was chosen because she was speed and she needed the most amount of people around here, which also kind of influenced where Vicuna could go, because Vicuna had to be within. We already had X'd out 3 of these slots, so that left only this slot, or one of these 3 slots, to maximize Paulton and to maximize Shandy, since Morgan kind of had to go in one of these 3 slots. Morgan could only go here to be within 2 slots of the front and minimize the amount of adjacent circles. If Morgan went here, that would minimize the 2 circles, but he wouldn't be within 2 circles of the front. If I put Morgan up here where Walnut currently is, I would have the least amount of adjacent characters, greatest amount of non-adjacent characters, but I wouldn't be close enough to make use of the long game. So that's why this slot basically had to be for Morgan. The 2 slots below it had to be for avatars I didn't expect to do any damage or do a lot of damage or to get a lot of defeats. So that basically was my tier 1 gold, or slot bench 1 gold, my bench 2 with Whittle, and then I had this slot down. The slot where Freely is basically had to be a DPS, kind of a free slot. But then that was determined by dexterity. Whatever went here, if Shandy was here or here, if Shandy was here, then this had to be somebody with a high amount of dexterity. If Shandy was here, then I had to have high dexterity. In order to maximize her bonuses, I would need to have high dexterities in this slot, this slot, this slot, and this slot. And Havilar has 15 dex. Freely has 17 dex. So Shandy would picking up a bigger bonus off of going closer to the whoever in the corner. So that's kind of why Shandy really fell into this slot from where everyone else was. And Paulton fell here because that increased the amount 4 slots for the gold boost, and Vicona fell here because she's not dependent on position for a healing power. This got her close enough to Whittle to be affected by the base recharge bump. And that's kind of how the formation fell into. And then this last slot was just kind of these last 2 slots, Walnut and V, just kind of wound up here because I wanted Walnut's Documenter. I also want, one of the other reasons I knew I was going for Freely is, as I said before, I'm ramping or trying to ramp the deity bonus, and Freely gives me an extra bonus with Adventurous Tale to the overall bonus that I earned from the overall bump that I get from the deity. So that's how this formation got there. I wasn't trying to maximize or answer any challenges, but that's how this got set up. And now that you've heard the logic of going through it, running this way, I got my work here is done. I wasn't intending to get my work here is done. It was because of all the other selections I had made up to that point of where these characters wanted to go. I knew that Vicona is an evil character, so V, when I got to her selection, and I forget which level that to start. Okay, level 150, bless their hearts, evil champions also benefit from a good example's damage increase. So that put Vicona in with the good example. And what was this? 2-0 for this, continually while a champion and buffed by 6 other champions with a good example. And so this formation got me that challenge. I wasn't going for it. Wasn't intending to set up a collection of neutral, good, evil characters to get it, but I did. completely accidentally. So if you're trying to finish V's challenge and you're not sure how to get that, well, here you go. Walnut and V in the back, Paulton and Freely in second row, and this is on Havilar's map. Morgan, Whittle, Shandi going down the third from the back, and then Donnie and Vicona in the row 2, and then Havilar in row 1. And just run this, and you will satisfy V's challenge requirements. So there you go. I hope that explains why I made this formation and how I just kind of accidentally stumbled into finishing off, which is not exactly an intuitive challenge to figure out. But there you go. I'm Aurian Archive, and I'll catch you later.